Guys, welcome to the session, and I hope all of you guys are doing good. So let's get started with today's discussion. So the agenda for today is, as things are going very much agentic in nature, almost every aspects of day-to-day task is getting into agentic. So same way for the development point of view as well, things are very much moving towards agentic in nature. And in this particular session, we are going to talk about how we can create the entire solution. Obviously, I'm not going to code anything, but I'll show you my code which I have created, and I'll give you a brief idea how we can use Claude Code for standardize the entire coding standards, right? So what we are going to see is one end-to-end solution where I am going to provide which type of database I want to create. For example, I want to create the database for library management system. And I'll be providing that I need these tables. Table 1, table 2, table 3, and table 4. Our agent will understand the requirement. First of all, it will create the architecture, that how the tables will be, how the tables are connected with each other using the concept of constraints. Once the architecture is ready, it will generate the entire DDLs for me. That is the second agent's task. Then my third agent will be coming in, who is going to insert some dummy records in that tables which we are creating. And the fourth one will do the quality assurance, whether the entire solution which we have created is perfectly created or not, right? Which further can be expanded. We can add some more aspects of coding as well, but for the demo purpose, I created only this much. But before we proceed further, what is an agent? We are using LLMs quite extensively for our normal chats like chat GPTs and all. If I go with the very basic LLM, let's say I'm not using chat GPT as well, I just took the API from OpenAI. The default behavior of the basic agent is input goes in and text comes out. It is stateless. That means it does not have the memory. That is the default behavior of LLM, right? So obviously when you are using chat GPTs and all, it has a memory because chat GPT enabled those memories. But by default, if you see the behavior of LLM, those are stateless. Second concept is chain. Chain is basically nothing but a fixed sequence of your LLM calls. You can control the entire flow. Right? For example, I am having a big text. I want to summarize the text. That is the first task of the chain. The second task of the chain is, let's say I want to translate the text into one language to another. And the third task of the chain will be sending that as an email. So it's like a multi-steps which I am trying to control. Next is your agent. Here LLM decides what to do next. It's a dynamic flow and it uses tools. Tools can be Python function. Let's say I want to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. and my user is asking what is the temperature today, give me the output in the Fahrenheit. So in that case, it will use a tool, that is Python function, which can convert Celsius to Fahrenheit and gives me the response. So real-time example can be, I want to research on a topic. It will decide which sources to read and then summarizes the output, right? So agent is basically dynamic in nature and it does task for me. One of the powerful pattern of agent is known as React agent. The React pattern. So basically every modern AI agent, you must be using a lot of agents in your day-to-day task, like for example, Cloud Code, right? So every modern AI agent is built on the same React pattern where we have 4-step loop. React is also known as reason and action. Reason plus action. So it contains 4 different steps. One is think. The LLM reasons about the goal and decides what to do next. Second is act. It picks a tool and calls it with arguments. As I mentioned, tool can be a Python function as well, and function may need some of the input arguments. For example, I want to convert temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So I need the temperature in Celsius. So act is basically, it picks up the tool, that is a function, that is Celsius to Fahrenheit function, and it calls it with the argument, that is the temperature in Celsius. Third step is observe. The tool returns a result which is added in the conversation. Right? I want to convert my temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and then I want to respond back. So in that case, it will be going to print that the temperature is this much. And then repeat. Until the LLM produces the final answer, it will keep running in, right? It may use another tool. There can be dependencies. So this loop will keep running in till I get the final answer, right? That is an agent. You can use frameworks like LangChain, LangGraph, your OpenAI agent SDKs, Crew AI, AutoGen. These are some of the frameworks available which can help me to build the agents. In this particular example, I'll be using LangGraph. The solution which I am going to show you, it will be more of a LangGraph. Many of you guys may be aware of all these things, but those guys who are not aware, for them this session is. So why multi-agent system is very much popular as compared to a single agent system? Or I can say one mega agent, right? So a single agent with, let's say, 20 tools, it may use a lot of, tokens. Sounds powerful because we have 5,000 token system prompt. But in practice, it underperforms. Small specialized agents, they have various benefits. One is separation of concerns, right? Each agent has a job and one focused prompt. So a schema architect doesn't need to know how to generate fake data. So for example, I will be having this agent, right, which we are building, where I have to generate the database. I will first providing which type of database I want to create. So architect will create that database for me. Then my second agent will generate the DDLs physically inserting the tables in the database. Third is dummy records. It will insert some dummy records out there. So this is what I'm talking about as of now. And this I'm talking about. This is a schema architect, which will let me know that what schema I want to build, right? What tables I want to build, how the tables are connected with each other and so on. And this is the dummy data architect. So schema architect will not be aware how to generate the dummy data. And same way, dummy data will not be aware how to generate the schema architect. All are independent of each other. So each agent has a job and focused prompt. A schema architect does not know or does not need to know how to generate the fake data. And the same way, fake data architect or data seeder architect does not need to know some other task, how to optimize the SQL scripts, something like that, right? So better the smaller prompts will be, better the smaller agents will be, I will have a better separation of concerns. And that will make my agent more powerful, lesser token utilized, more nicely managed, and I can track it as well, right? Where is the problem coming in? Rather than if I have one bigger agent, I may be lost that what problem happened and where it happened. So that's the reason we are preferring to go for multi-agent system. Second reason is specialized prompts. You can tune each agent system prompt independently. For example, let's say QA reviewer can be told to be paranoid and pessimistic. The schema architect can be told to think like a database textbook. These personalities we can have in the agents, right? So that is what we can do as well. There can be a chance that I can do a parallel execution as well, right? For example, data seeder and QA check. I can run it parallelly also, because the purpose of data seeder is to generate some dummy records. The purpose of QA is to just check the table structures and all. So I can keep running that parallelly also. So that will improve the performance as well. Next is independent observability. Right. Independent agents can run in parallel. For example, data seeder and a QA reviewer, or maybe system architect. So we can track each of the agents isolated. We can trace them. When the system fails, you exactly know which agent failed and why. But in the mega agent, it is a bit of a challenge, right? And the last one is obviously model choice, independent model choice. For example, let's say for doing the QA, I may not need a very expensive model. I can use the free models, right? For maybe some complex task, I need some complex models, which is paid models. So I can very well change the models as well. Independent model choice we will have. So that is how we design the agents, right? Now what we are going to see here is basically a multi-agent database system where user will mention, build me one e-commerce database with following tables, let's say, or just I am saying build the e-commerce database. There will be my agent, the starting point. I am using LangGraph. So we will have the LangGraph orchestrator, which will route the things for me, right? Whether I want to create the architect, the schema architect, or I want to create the SQL tables, or I want to create the dummy data, that is database seeder, let's say, or I want to do the QA reviewer. These are my 4 steps which I have. So when user will say, build me the e-commerce DB, LangGraph orchestrator goes to schema architect. It will design all of your tables, columns, relationships, everything. Once that is done, the output of this schema architect goes to my SQL developer agent, where it will generate the entire table for me. Once that is done, it will go back to the data seeder, which will insert some dummy records. And then I can run this and this parallelly as well. But the design which I did is it's like all step by step. So QA reviewer will be coming in. It will validate all the SQL as per the requirement. If something goes wrong here, it will go back to my SQL and it will again do the same task, right? So this will be like a loop. So if my QA test fails, it will go to the developer, ask to rerun, or it may go to the architect as well. That depends what type of problem we are facing. Each of the agent will have different tools. This guy has the validate relationship tool. This guy will have the execute SQL tool. This guy will have the generate fake data tool. And this guy will have run test query tools. And once everything is done, I'll be getting the final outcome. I'll show you the architecture which I have. I'll show you my document. So here is the document which I was talking about. So user will ask, build an e-commerce DB. My LangGraph orchestrator will start diverting. It goes here. Schema architect. Then it goes to SQL developer. Then it will go to the data seeder. I'll take all the questions at the end. As of now, let me complete this. Last 10 minutes, we will have a discussion. Data seeder. Then we'll go to the QA, whether the things are fine or not. And this is like a loop, right? Each of the agent has various tools. As of now, I have only simple agent. So I have one tool only. So this guy is having validate relationship. This guy is having execute SQL. This guy is having generate fake data function. And this guy is having run test query function. And once this entire process will complete, it will generate the output as a database. So this type of agents we can build. Again, as I mentioned, it's a pretty much a very simple agent I created for demo purpose, but we can extend its functionality. Right here, I have put all the details what each agent is doing. I'll share this document with you. But what type of expansion we can do here? So here you can see the expansion which we can do. So we can have the migration agent. We can add it right on this agent which we are going to see. We can add these type of extra steps as well. Migration agent takes the current schema and a new requirement, add a wish list feature, produce alter table statements, and a migration script that's backward compatible. Performance tuner agent read the schema and sample queries, identifies missing indexes, suggests denormalization, generates explain plan, recommends partition strategies. REST API generator agent reads the schema and generates the fast API service that with the CRUD endpoints, Pydantic models, and OpenAI docs. Documentation agent generate the ERD diagram, a data dictionary, and a markdown readme explanation every table and relationship automatically updated whenever the schema changes. And security audit agent reviews the schema for PII columns, suggests encryption strategies, checks the missing access control, generates row level security policies. So these are some of the expansions which we can do in this agent. So what I'll do, I'll show you now the solution which I have created. And then we will take help from Cloud Code, and I'll show you one more use case where I want to standardize my coding. Right? For example, I want to create Python function. So I want to make sure that function name should be as per my company standards, right? So we can standardize that as well. So all those things we can also do. So that will be the second use case, which I'll be discussing. Okay. So here you can see that this is my folder and I have my workbench, which is present in my local machine. And if you go back to the code, so here are my 4 agents. The first agent is schema architect. I'm using LangGraph and LangChain. Here you can see that the entire system prompt is there for that particular agent. So you are a senior database architect. Your job is to design a normalized MySQL schema based on the business requirement you receive. I'll share this all code and everything. Don't worry. Every table has a single column, primary key, snake case, table name, column names, plural table names, users, products, orders, and so on and so forth, right? Design the schema to match the business requirement and all those things. So that is my first agent. Again, I'm building the entire architecture using the chat OpenAI, right? I'm using the OpenAI model here. Here I have the agent, tools, verbose, max iteration. 4 times it will try to run. And after that, if nothing is happening, it will stop, right? The second one is SQL developer, which will generate your database physically in your database. You are a pragmatic SQL developer. You turn schema design into runnable MySQL DDLs. You must use exactly the tables and columns from the schema JSON you are given. This JSON file will be coming from the schema architect. This guy will input and it goes here, right? So that is how the flow is happening. Do not remove, add, rename, or invent any tables or columns and so on. You can read this. I will share the file with you. Okay. Here are the process. Read the schema JSON carefully. Note every table name, every column name. Generate all create plus index statements. Call execute SQL. Execute SQL is here. You will see one function, right? Which you can see somewhere in the run.py or somewhere. You will find somewhere here, right? Then we have the next one, data seeder, which will generate the dummy records. You are a data seeding specialist to fill empty MySQL table with realistic, internally consistent sample data. You must use exactly the table columns and so on and so forth. Again, these are some of the rules which I am following. And last is QA reviewer. You are a senior database QA engineer. You are paranoid by design. You assume every system is broken until you prove it works. Review the MySQL database that was just built and decide pass or fail. And again, some of the rules coming in. So these are my 4 agents, which we have discussed here in our documentation. So these are my 4 agents: schema architect, SQL developer, data seeder, and QA reviewer. So I close this for now. Then we have the front end. I'm using the HTML front end, which will be connected with my server, that is Fast API. So when I call my front end, it will hit the Fast API, which will hit my Python code. So that is the connection we have. Then here we have the tool, DB tool, where you can see that I have the configuration of my database. User ID, password, everything is present in my environment file. So in this environment file, this is my API key from OpenAI. These are my user ID passwords. So that is what it is going to pick up in this DB tool. Right. So here you have the connect server only, ensure database is existing or not, reset the database, test connection, split SQL. Then we have various tools, validate relationship, whether the relationship is correct or not. Then we have execute SQL, right? That was coming in one of the agents. So this will execute your SQL. So here you will find all the tools. Fake records, generate the fake records, run the test queries, right? So these are my tools which will be called by these agents. List tables, get database summary. So these are the various functions and tools which we have. Okay. So now as I mentioned, I'll take all the questions at the end. I see some of the questions coming in. Give me some time, please. Next is my graph. So here I'm using the LangGraph, which is like an orchestrator. So here you can see we have all the agents I am calling: schema architect agent, build SQL developer agent, data seeder agent, QA reviewer agent, max retries to. Then this is the state of the agent. As I mentioned, your LLMs are stateless. So I want to keep track of the state. So here we are maintaining the state. The schema, which is a JSON file generated by your schema architect. SQL DDL generated by your SQL developer agent, right? Then seed SQL. Seed SQL is the insert statement generated by your data seeder. And QA verdict will be again created by this guy, right? Here we are maintaining the retry count. Max retries we have is 2. And then if error comes in, I'll store that error as well, which will be printed in my front end. So here I have various functions again. And at the bottom, you will see the build graph. I'm building this entire graph, right? This is the entire graph, which will help me to, here you can see, add node and all those things coming in, right? I'm not explaining the line by line. We don't have that much time, but you can go through that. I'll share this code with you. Then we have run.py, which is basically help me to run my this thing, entire system, because that is my main script, right? This is the script which I have to run. So when I call this script, automatically all the steps will be running in. It will be opening my 8000 port. My front end will be started. Here you can see that I am calling my fast API. So fast API will get started, right? So let's go for it. Let's launch this application. So Python run dot py. So it started. I have to go to this link. At this link, my application is opened up. So let me go to the web browser. And let me paste that link here. So here you can see that this is my entire solution coming in. Multi-agent database builder. Watch for AI agents, build a real database. Here you can see that this is my physical database. It will generate one database here. The database name I have given was agent_demo, right? Here I have given multiple options to the user. I want to create the e-commerce shop, or I want to create the library system, or I want to create the finance tracker, or I want to create the hospital system, or I can have my own database as well. But for now, let's get into the e-commerce shop. So the prompt here is build an e-commerce database for a small online shop with customers, products, orders, and order items as a table, right? I click on run agent. Here are my 4 agents. First agent is system architect, which will use the validate relationship function, that is tool. It will execute this, reads the requirement, design the tables, columns, primary keys, and foreign key relationship. Once that is done, it will go to the SQL developer agent, turns the schema into, so this guy will give me one JSON file, which will have the entire table details, how the table will look like. That will be input to the SQL developer. So SQL developer will generate that for me. So turns the schema into create table statements with indexes, run them against MySQL, execute SQL. So this step will generate entire tables in your database. Then we have the data seeder. So once the table gets created, data seeder will execute and it will generate some realistic sample data in those tables using this generate fake data function. And last is QA reviewer runs sanity queries, check every table, every join, return pass or fail, whether your entire database got created successfully or not. So let's execute this. Once I click on this run agent, you can see now my schema architect is now running. So if something goes wrong here, it will raise the error. So I'll get to know, okay, that is the problem, right? So I don't have to worry about one bigger mega agent. Here it will fail. So I will get to know that, okay, there is problem here. So I may have to change this agent. So here you can see that my schema architect coming in, it generated the JSON file, user table, ID column, name column, email column, created ad column, and so on and so forth. After that, my second agent also completed, which created all the create table statements. Now my third agent is running, which is basically going to generate the fake data for me. But in the meantime, if I go to the database and if I refresh, you can see that here agent database coming in, and these are the 4 tables got created. If I do select star from orders item, you can see that here data is also there because this agent is also completed. So my table got some records as well. Here are the insert statements. And then finally my QA agent also ran fine and it gave me the QA test pass. At the bottom, you can see that the verdict is pass, database built and validated. That is the final verdict. Here is the sample data and everything is coming in the right side. So here all the tables are now ready. Has the data as well. And you can see that it is looking perfectly fine. If I go back and recreate something else, for example, I want to create the library management system. As of now, the system which I have created is it will delete the existing database and recreates it. So when I run this again, what will happen? It will restart. My agent database will get deleted and it will recreate. And this time it will generate these tables: books, authors, members, and borrow records. So as of now, it is running. Then once that is done, it will generate one JSON file for me. So here you can see the JSON file coming in. Then it will run this agent, which will generate the SQL developer, which will generate all my SQLs, or I can say DDLs. So here you can see all done. Now it is generating the dummy records. But in the meantime, when I refresh my database, you can see that my table got changed: author, books, borrow records, and members. Then it's running the data seeder. And again, as I mentioned, it's a very basic tool which I have created. We can fine tune further by adding in the front end that what all columns and tables I want from my side, right? It's a very simple prompt we are passing as of now, but we can customize that further and we can have an option for the user to say that, okay, these are the tables I want to create. And in that table, these are the columns I want, right? So all those things can be done as well. You have to fine tune your agents. You have to redesign basically, right? So everything is done. Now my tables are there. Author has a data, right? It's all sample data it is generating. Books has a data. Borrow records. But the main idea here is that suppose I want to build the entire database. Obviously, I will not be adding some dummy records out there in the production scenario. But if I want to build the entire database, I know the entire data model. We had a discussion with the client and we are now aware of entire data model. In that case, we can go ahead and we can use that entire data model, plug in my agent. Agent will generate all the tables for me, right? I don't have to worry about that. I can just quickly check. One more thing we can do here again, that once you are doing the QA review, I want to generate one report as well, that what all type of checks you have done. right? As of now, you can see that it is just saying that there are no issues, everything is passed. But what type of checks did you do in this? It's not mentioned as of now, right? Because again, as I told, I created a very basic idea. This can be expanded further. So we can ask for creating the PDF file as a proper test results, which I can check it out, read it, and I can compare, and then I can finalize that, right? So this type of agents we can very well build. That is the first use case, how AI agents can help me to make my entire development very smooth and seamless. Second use case I want to discuss is, suppose let's say I want to create one entire Python end-to-end coding, right? But this time I'm not using any OpenAI or something. I'll be using the power of Claude Code. So I've integrated Claude Code with my Visual Studio. So here you can see that at the top, there is a Claude Code icon. So I'm clicking on that. So here you can see that my Claude Code is open up. I'm in this particular folder. What I want is, I created one MD file. I'll show you that. So I'm pasting the MD file in here. You can see that here I have created this MD file where I have given the entire coding standards. So you can read it for some time, that you will get the idea. A personal reference guide for writing clean, consistent, and maintainable Python code. Naming convention, clear and consistent names. Naming makes code self-documenting and easier to maintain. The variable name I want to create with a snake case. The variable name should start with var underscore. So example could be var underscore user underscore name, var underscore total underscore amount, and so on. The function name should also be snake case, and my function name should start with fun underscore. So fun underscore deposit, fun underscore calculate interest, and so on. Constant should be capital in nature, right? And if you go down further, how the function should look like, how the document string will look like. So I have actually given the entire this thing, the standards which I want to follow, right? So here sample examples are there. Then below I have talked about the document strings, how the document string should look like. So my document string should look like this. The function name, input, type hinting, document string, and then other details, right? So everything I have mentioned here. And what I'm going to do here is, now I'll ask Claude Code to generate one application. Let's say health tracker, right? And I want my machine to follow these standards only. So what I'll be saying, I want to create one health tracker where we will pass the age, height, weight of the person, and based on that, it will calculate the entire important KPIs for the health, right? So I'm again giving a very vague prompt, but the main thing is that I wanted to show you, it will generate the entire code as per my guidelines, as per my standards, right? So follow the instructions from Python coding standards .md so that the code will be of my standards. So now you can see that it is executing. It will generate the entire app for me, entire application for me. But the main thing you will be seeing is that it will generate the entire application as per my coding standards. It will not generate anything random, right? So it is now reading the Python coding standard file, understanding the requirements. If the schema architect agent calls SQL developer and following it calls data seeder, then in that case, does orchestrator agent only calls schema architect? Orchestrator agent will start with schema architect only. After that, it will go step by step. That is how the flow we have created. Right. So here you can see that all my constants are coming in the capital letters as per what we have mentioned. The function is created with the fun underscore. You can see the proper document strings also coming in as per my requirement. Variables are created using var underscore, right? So I'll allow this. So all the code was created as per the expectations, as per the guidelines which we have set. It is doing the testing as well from its side. So everything is done. It is asking, shall I create the front end as well? Right. So if you want, you can go for the front end as well. Testing is also done. Everything is fine. Here you can see all the KPIs are computed, all looking good. And the main part is that it is following my company standards, right? I can in my company standards, I can say that also that I want the file name to be app underscore health, app underscore file, app underscore property or something like that, right? So it will generate the file name also on the standards, right? So that type of thing also we can do. So that is the second use case where again we are using Claude Code quite extensively and it will generate the entire solution for me, right? So these are the things which people are implementing in the day-to-day. The tool can be anything. It can be Claude, it can be Codex, it can be anti-gravity, it can be anything. But that is what the next level of development going on. And obviously some of the tasks, for example, building the database, we can create the accelerators the way we created here. So this accelerator, if you create, then obviously this I can use in various different projects, right? It's not that this particular accelerator is only for one of the clients. I as a company can build the entire solution as a accelerator and I can use that for my various clients as well. So this is like a reusable component which we have created. So whenever there is a new project comes in, I want to develop the entire database, I can call this accelerator. I'll pass all the details and my database gets created, right? Some customization may be required, but you can just see that many tasks which we are doing for like hours, I can create the accelerator for the same, and I can use that for my day-to-day task. And for every client, I can plug and play, right? So how beneficial is that? So this way we can think of using the power of AI and build the solution and mostly try to build the reusable solution which can be used for my not only one client, but I can use that for multiple clients as well. Okay. So I think this is what I wanted to cover. Now we can take the questions which you guys have and we can maybe think out loud and discuss about the same. Multi-agent versus small smart token query. A small project multi-agent looks when, but when we increase it, how does it impact as compared to small smart token query? Can you? I'm not sure what exactly the question is, but the idea is that the purpose of agent is to automate the things, right? If you are only passing the prompt and getting the output, that can be used as well. But what is the use case? If the use case is that I want to build the entire solution end to end without me coming in between, I just want to come at the approval time, right? I want to be part of it at the time of approval only. Then in that case, there is no point of going with the small token prompts, right? Or whatever you are saying here. So the purpose of agent is to make the things automated and end-to-end implemented type of solutions, right? So that depends on the use case, what type of use case you are working on. But again, I'm not clear what the question is, but this is what I'm understanding, and based on that, I'm responding. Recording will be available. Yes, you will be seeing that in the YouTube channel. Source code I will share with the support team, and they will send it to you over the email. These agents are running as of now sequentially, but as I mentioned that once the schema architect is done, I can run the SQL developer. And once I can run the SQL developer, after that data seeder and QA reviewer can be run parallelly. There is no dependency of QA seeder and data seeder, like QA reviewer and data seeder. So we can run that parallel also. No issues with that. Any freeware model which we can use to code generation, code review. Freeware model, you can go and check it out here. So you can go to the Hugging Face website. Your Facebook model, which is Llama. Llama is free model, right? Very powerful model. DeepSeek is there. So here you'll be going to find a lot of free models, which you can use for database development as well. That is what I told you, that if I am doing any complex task, then I can go for heavy models or very powerful models like Claude or OpenAI. But when I know that the outcome is not that much, right? The complexity is not that much. In that case, I can very well go for the simple models, try to implement the solution with the simpler models, and later on use the powerful models if required, right? So that is the main thing which people are also doing. I was reading one of the articles. So there was one guy created the entire solution with around 75% of cost reduction, because what he did was he was using more of a free models for the simpler tasks. And whenever the task is complex, then only he was using the complex models. And that is what the power of frameworks like LangChain, LangGraph, CrewAI, all those things, because I can have, I'm like model agnostic. I don't have to worry about, I only have to use this model. I can plug and play any model, and that will be the key for me, right? So absolutely, you can go for any models. For simpler tasks, you can go for the simple models. For complex tasks, you can go for the complex models, which will absolutely going to take care of a lot of token cost. Can we? Yes, we can introduce, we can modify the existing agent as well. Everything can be done, right? Everything can be done because that is the power of LangGraph and LangChain. When we are building any AI solution, we go with the simpler version first, and then we keep expanding it. I will not think of creating the entire database agent which will do everything, right? I created a dummy here. Slowly, I will start expanding it. The pointers which I have mentioned right here in the document. So here I have mentioned that what all things can be done further. So if I try to implement all these things, where is that? This one. Migration agent, performance tuner agent, REST API generator agent, documentation agent, security audit agent. If I start using all these agents and create the entire end-to-end solution, that is going to be a bit of a heavy task for me. So I will start small, and then I will keep adding, keep plugging new agents as well. And that is the power of LangGraph, right? So absolutely we can do that. Existing agents I can change. We can add more agents as well. And as I mentioned, majority of my AI projects which are going on in the industry are getting success. The only reason is that we are not only generating the solution throughout, we are coming up with the small POC and slowly expanding it. One of the articles came in last year. Majority of the Gen AI projects are failing because they are trying to do everything in a one go. That is absolutely wrong. Go for a small POC and then keep enhancing it. That is the correct way of generating the solution, right? So that is what you should also follow when you are working in the client's project. Can we do it without Claude Code? what you want me to do it without Cloud Code? The entire thing is obviously I need some LLM, right? So apart from Cloud Code, you can use the Copilot, you can use the anti-gravity from Google, you can use the Codex, right? You can use some free LLMs as well. That is pretty much can be done. If LLM model has knowledge cutoff date, how agents will get latest information? Is there any way? Yes. So the way is that LLM has a cutoff date, but there is a concept of RAG, retrieval augmented generation. So I can enable my LLM to have the latest information as well. I can provide that information with the help of RAG. Plus, I can provide memory as well. So LLM has a lot of limitations, but that can be taken care by providing the extra information, right? In a form of a document, in a form of a vector store, in a form of a MD file, right? Markdown file. So we can provide that. What is the maximum size of database it can generate? There is no limitation out there. It's just more the bigger database will be, more the tokens consumed, right? So as I mentioned, if the database is not very complex, I can go with a simple model, free models, open source models, so that the development part can be done by that model, so that I can save some of the cost in the tokens. No, I did not pass any column names. It is generating automatically. I just gave the table details. So every time when you will run, it may give you the new columns. That also we can standardize. We can mention that I need, as I mentioned, right? We can fine tune this agent and we can mention that I want to have these columns only and something like that. We can very well do that. The MD file which you showcased in much more with skills. So do you have any recommendation on skills which we can go through and community has the offer better outputs? Skill document you can ask machine only to generate. Normally what I am doing is that I am just providing my entire information to the Claude. So I'll show you that. So for example, let's go to Claude. So what I'm doing is, let's say I want to create this type of MD file, right? For my standards. So I'll say that I want to create the markdown file where I want to mention about my coding standards. In your company, you will be having your coding standards. So you have to put all those details in this prompt, right? So my function name should be fun underscore xxx, right? Variable name should be var underscore and so on, right? Plus, if I am creating stored procedure in database, it should be sp underscore something like this, right? So create the detailed MD file for me like this. So I have to provide my entire information that is we are aware of, right? That knowledge we already have because we are working in the projects. So that information I'll be providing to my LLM and it will generate the entire detailed MD for me. I will just make sure that I will be providing my context and I will say also in the prompt that only follow these standards, do not add any other standards, right? As of now, it was very much open-ended. So it may give me some extra things as well, but you can provide the proper prompt and you can mention that I only want these things. Apart from that, I don't want anything else, right? So it will generate the entire MD file for me and we can use that for our purpose. What's the next learning we can do in this topic? You can learn LangChain, LangGraph type of architecture, start building small agents like the way we have created here. So you can start working on this. You may be working in the projects. So see that what all things can be done and try to build small agents, try to showcase to the management, right? If they like it, you can maybe deploy that. So start small and start learning frameworks like LangChain, LangGraph, Creo AI, AutoGen. master one, other things will be on the same lines. If I know LangGraph, CreateUI you will understand easily as well because almost the concepts remain the same. So here you can see that we got the entire MD file, right? So this is my entire MD file, coding standards.md, and you can see here fun, where, sp, view, trg, table, and so on. Because it was more of a open-ended prompt which I have given, so it created for everything. CreateUI, I see that people are not using much as compared to your LangGraph. LangGraph is more popular than CreateUI. How can we generate multiple agents to generate agent condition to be taken care? How can we generate multiple agents? Again, as I mentioned, using the LangGraph LangChain, you can have various nodes. Each node will act like an agent, which will have its own tools. Right? So that is how we can build. So if you know one of the frameworks, then automatically you will start building the agents easily. How can we provide memory? It depends on the scenario. You can provide the memory in a vector store format as well, vector database. You can provide the memory in the MD file. People are now using MD file also quite extensively for memory, right? So we can provide MD file as well as a memory where we'll be providing all the details and it will keep adding in the MD file. Claude is different, anti-gravity is different. Claude is coming from Anthropic, anti-gravity is coming from Google. All right, I think this is what I wanted to cover. I almost tried to cover every questions as well. I hope you got something new from this. And yeah, explore things from your side as well. And I'll be sharing these files with the support team and they will forward it to you. Also, if you have any doubts, you can email us and we will respond back. Have a nice day and take care, guys.